Good morning, dear children. Hope all are doing well. So, we will begin with our first chapter. Before moving to the chapter, what I want to say is, I don't want the lecture notes from this topic. I just need you to write the question answers given at the back of the textbook. Is it clear? So, don't write the lecture notes because we have many question answers here. Okay. So, since it will be a burden for you, I am asking you to write just the question answers. So, you can buy a new notebook. Then, you can put today's date, write the name of the chapter. Then, here for each chapter, we are having section A, section B, section C, etc. Many subdivisions are there. So, you can write that subdivision and page number. Then, no need to copy the questions. Okay. I need just the answers. So, you have to write only question answers. Is it clear? Okay. So, now we will move to our first chapter, measurements and experimentation. Okay. So, this is our first chapter. Before moving to the heading, we should check what are physical quantities. Have you heard about the term physical quantities? So, what are physical quantities? We can see many things around us, isn't it? But all the things are not measurable. The quantities which can be measured are called physical quantities. Okay. So, what are physical quantities? Quantities that can be measured. For example, I have a chalk with me. I can measure the length of this chalk. I can measure the mass of this chalk, isn't it? So, those quantities are measurable. And measurable quantities can be called as physical quantities. Example, length, mass, time, etc. So, is it clear? Quantities which can be measured are called physical quantities. Now, in the heading we have measurements. So, what do you mean by measurement? In physics, this term is having much value because when you are doing the practical works and all, measurement is coming. So, actually, what do you mean by measurement? If I say that the length of this chalk, length is a physical quantity, isn't it? So, I can say that the length of this chalk is 7 centimeter. This is actually a measurement. Length of this chalk is 7 centimeter is just a measurement. So, actually, what are we doing here? How can I say that its length is 7 centimeter? Or how can we define measurement? Do you know? Measurement means it is actually the comparison of an unknown quantity with a non-standard quantity. Okay. So, when you are comparing an unknown quantity with a known quantity, we will call it as measurement. If I know about centimeter, then only I can say that the length of this chalk is 7 centimeter, isn't it? So, I know about centimeter, then I have measured it and I have said that its length is 7 centimeter. So, which is the unknown quantity here? What I took as the measurement, isn't it? And since I know about centimeter, that is the known quantity. So, since I know about centimeter, I can say that length of this chalk is 7 centimeter. So, in measurement, actually we are doing a comparison. Okay. So, how can you define measurement? It is the comparison of an unknown quantity with a non-fixed quantity. And can you tell me what is that non-fixed quantity? Unknown quantity is what we are going to measure. Then which is that non-quantity? It is the unit. If I don't know about the unit, how can I say that the length of this chalk is 7 centimeter? I cannot say that, isn't it? So, what you have to remember, once you should know about, first you should know about the unit, then only you can do a measurement, isn't it? So, comparison of an unknown quantity with a non-fixed quantity is called measurement, and that fixed quantity is called unit. So, is it clear? That non-fixed quantity is the unit. Now, I told you that length is equal to 7 centimeter. Okay. Now, in this, which is the physical quantity? Length, isn't it? Length is the physical quantity. Then, this is our measurement. 7 centimeter is the measurement. In that, centimeter is the unit. And what is this 7? It's a numerical value, isn't it? Numerical value of the measurement. Numerical value of measurement can be called as magnitude. Okay? Magnitude is the numerical value of a measurement. So, from this what can you say? How can you represent a physical quantity? A physical quantity can be represented using its magnitude as well as unit. If you want to represent a physical quantity, you should know its magnitude. Magnitude means its numerical value and its unit. So, is it clear how to represent a physical quantity? A physical quantity is represented using its magnitude and unit. Magnitude means that is the numerical value. Okay. So, what all things did we learn? Physical quantities. Quantities which can be measured are called physical quantities. Example, length, mass, time, etc. Measurement is the comparison of an unknown quantity with a non-fixed quantity, and that non-fixed quantity is known as unit. A physical quantity can be represented using its magnitude and unit. Okay. Now, next we will consider how can we select a unit. What all things we have to remember by choosing a unit. So here I have told that length of this chalk is 7 centimeter. So I have selected, many units are there for length, but I have selected the unit centimeter. Instead of that, why can't I choose kilometer here? Is it possible to use kilometer? We can use kilometer, but when you are comparing the length of this chalk, kilometer is a very big unit, isn't it? So, before choosing a unit for a physical quantity, we have to consider certain factors. So, we will check what all things we have to consider before selecting a unit for a physical quantity. So, the first one is it should be of suitable size. That is what now I said. So, since it is a chalk, the better one, it's better to use either millimeter or centimeter. I don't want to use kilometer here, isn't it? So, based on the size of the quantity, we have to select the unit. So, that is the first point. Here, we have to consider the size. Now, the second one is a unit should be a definable one. If we are choosing a unit, we should be able to define that unit. Now, the third one, it should be reproducible. That means we should be able to create that unit again. Okay. So, it should be reproducible. And the next thing is, it should not change with time and space. So, from here, I am at 5 o'clock, I got the measurement as 7 centimeter. But at 8 o'clock, if I am getting the unit as, measurement as 7.1 centimeter means that is wrong, isn't it? So, when we are taking a measurement, that should be same always. If we are taking the measurement from India or from some other country, we should get the same answer. So, is it clear? These are the 4 things what should come in your mind before choosing a unit. Okay. So, which are those factors? It should be of suitable size. It should be definable. It should be reproducible. And it should not change with space and time. So, these 4 factors are very important before choosing a unit. Okay. So, is it clear? Now, units can be classified into 2. Okay. We are having fundamental units and derived units. We are classifying units into two, fundamental units and derived units. Fundamental or basic units means it is independent. We can't take it from some other units. Okay, the units which are the basic units and which cannot be taken from some other unit can be called as fundamental units. For example, when you are considering the unit for length, what is the unit for length? Meter, isn't it? So when you are considering meter, centimeter, etc., is it possible to take that unit from some other quantity or some other unit? No. Meter or centimeter is the fixed unit for length. Second or minute or hour is the fixed unit for time. It's not possible to get this unit from some other units. So such units which are fixed or which cannot be taken from some other units can be called as fundamental units. Now, what about derived units? Units which can be taken from some other unit. For example, when you are considering volume, what is the unit for volume? What is the equation for volume? Standard equation is volume is equal to length into breadth into height, isn't it? What is the unit for length? Meter. Breadth again meter. Height again meter. So meter into meter into meter. What is that? Meter cube. So meter cube is the unit for volume. And from where did we get this? We got this meter cube from the unit of length, isn't it? From the unit of length, we got the unit for volume. So if a unit is taken or derived from some other unit, we can call it as derived unit. I can tell you one more example. That is in the case of density. What is the equation to calculate density? Density is mass by volume. Then, what about the unit for mass? Mass is measured in kilogram. Volume is measured in meter cube. Since volume is given in the denominator, I will put bar. So, kilogram per meter cube is the unit for density. Now, is it a fundamental unit or a derived unit? It is a derived unit, isn't it? Because we got the unit kilogram per meter cube from the units of mass and volume. From the units of mass and volume, we got it as kilogram per meter cube, isn't it? So what can we say? The units which can be taken from some other units can be called as derived units. So is it clear? Units can be classified into two, fundamental units and derived units. The units which are independent or which cannot be taken from some other unit can be called as fundamental units. And which are the examples? Meter, kilogram, second. All those things are examples for fundamental units. Then what about derived units? The units which are taken from some other unit. So, is it clear about the classification of units? Okay. Next, we will move to the systems of units. Okay. So, earlier we had many systems of units. Earlier, it was considered as length, mass and time were considered as the fundamental quantities. Okay. So, before moving to that, you should know what is a fundamental quantity and what is a derived quantity. Already, I have told you about fundamental units and derived units, isn't it? Similarly, we are having fundamental quantities and derived quantities. So, what are fundamental quantities? Quantities which cannot be taken from some other quantity can be called as fundamental quantities. For example, length. We can't derive length from some other quantity. Length means it is fixed or it is basic one. Okay. So, the quantities which are basic quantities or which are independent or which cannot be taken from some other quantity can be called as fundamental quantity. And the quantities which are taken from the fundamental quantities can be called as derived quantities. So, already I told you in the case of units, for when you are considering length, mass, time, etc., it cannot be taken from some other quantity. So, those are examples for fundamental quantities and their units comes as fundamental units. But when you're talking about volume, volume is a derived quantity, because we are not directly measuring the volume of an object. So in order to get the volume, we will be measuring length, breadth and height. Then we will multiply these three in order to get volume. So volume is a derived quantity. Okay. Similarly, in the case of density, we can't directly measure the density of an object. So in order to get the density, what we have to do? First, we will be measuring the mass of the body. Then we will be measuring the volume of the body. Once we get mass and volume, mass by volume will give you the density, isn't it? So if you are getting a quantity from some other quantity, we will call it as derived quantity. So similar to fundamental and the derived units, we are having fundamental quantities and derived quantities. Keep that in mind. Okay. So what are fundamental quantities? Quantities which are independent and which cannot be taken from some other quantity can be called as fundamental quantities. The quantities which are taken from fundamental quantities can be called as derived quantities. And examples for fundamental quantity: length, mass, time, etc. Derived quantities: volume, area, density, etc. Okay. Now I told you we are having different systems of units. Earlier, it was believed that we have only 3 fundamental quantities and all the other quantities are taken from that. And those 3 fundamental quantities are length, mass and time. Okay. Earlier, it was believed that we have only 3 fundamental quantities. That is basic quantities. Okay. Which are they? Length, mass and time. So, we made units for these 3 quantities. First, and different systems of units were made for that. And the first system of unit was FPS system. Okay. And which are our fundamental quantities? We have length, mass and time as our fundamental quantities, and in order to measure that we have different systems of units, and the first system of unit was FPS system. In FPS system, length was measured in foot, mass in pound and time in seconds. Okay, so that was the first type of system in order to measure the in a system of unit. FPS, it is foot, pound, second. That is, in this case, length of an object will be measured in foot, mass in pound and time in second. But what is the issue with this system? When you are considering foot and pound, will it be same always? No, it won't be same. Foot and all means it will vary. So they moved to the next system of unit, that is CGS. Okay, they moved to the CGS system of unit. So in CGS system, length was measured in centimeter, mass in gram and time in seconds. And what was the issue with this system? Here the unit is so small. So we found difficulty in order to do the measurements of large quantities. Okay. So CGS system was replaced by MKS system. M stands for meter, K for kilogram and S for second. So here meter, kilogram and second, it was almost okay. But then came the issue that we can't stop with these 3 fundamental quantities. Actually, we have many fundamental quantities. Here we considered just about length, mass and time, and we formulated units for these 3. But later it was found that we have more number of fundamental quantities. So what they have done? They have added one more thing. Do you know what does A stands for? MKSA system. A is the unit for electric current. So what is that? It's ampere. Okay. Electric current is measured in ampere. So we won't get this ampere from some other unit. So they added this ampere also, and the system became MKSA system. And now again we have many more fundamental quantities. So this system is not enough for us. And we moved to the standard system which we are using now. Do you know which is that system? That is the SI system. Okay. So before moving to the SI system, once again we will check about the different systems of units. We have the systems of units in order to represent the fundamental quantities. Earlier it was believed that we have only three fundamental quantities, which are they? Length, mass and time. So first we have the FPS system. In FPS system, length is measured in foot, mass in pound and time in second. But this is not a standard one because its value vary. Then we moved to the CGS system. It was almost okay, but the values in centimeter and gram means it's too small. So we moved to the next system, MKS. Meter, length in meter, mass in kilogram and time in second. But the problem is we have more number of fundamental quantities. So since current is a fundamental quantity, we added the unit for current, which is ampere. So the system was called MKSA system. And after that, it was found that there are 7 fundamental quantities and 2 complementary quantities. Okay. Now, including all these 7 fundamental quantities and their units plus two other complementary quantities, we have the SI system, which is the system of unit what we follow now. Okay. It is the universally accepted one. It is actually called Systeme Internationale de Units, or we'll call it as International System of Units. Now we will go to SI system. So as I said, it is SI system means it's actually called Systeme Internationale. It's a French name. Systeme Internationale de Units, and we are calling it as, in English we'll say it as International System of Units or SI system. So this is very, very important. Okay. In SI system, we are having 7 fundamental quantities and their units plus 2 complementary quantities. So we'll consider the quantities. First one is length. Okay. And length. What is the SI unit for length? It is meter. Second one, mass. SI unit for mass is kilogram. Then these are the things what we learned earlier, isn't it? Length, mass, next is temperature. What is the SI unit for temperature? Or first I'll write time, then we'll come to temperature. That will be better, no? Till this we were discussing about these 3 quantities. So what is the SI unit for time? It is second. So these are the quantities what we have learned. Then fourth one already I told you, that is electric current. Then what is the SI unit for electric current? It is ampere. Ampere is represented by capital A since it is the name of a scientist. If you are writing the full name, it should be written in small letters. Now, fifth one is temperature. Usually we will be measuring temperature in degrees Celsius, but SI unit for temperature is Kelvin. Okay, this is also the name of a scientist, so capital letter. Now, the next one is luminous intensity. That is intensity of light. Okay, that is luminous intensity, and it is measured in cantilla. Luminous intensity is, I'm writing the symbols. Okay, CD, cantilla. It is cantilla and the symbol is CD. Then the 7th one is amount of substance. I think you may be knowing about this. This you have learned in chemistry. Amount of substance is always measured in mole, isn't it? MOLE, and its unit is, short form is MOL. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities and their units which comes in the SI system. You should be thorough with these quantities and their units. Symbols, especially symbol of these units. So which are they? length meter, mass kilogram, time second, electric current ampere, temperature Kelvin, luminous intensity candela, and amount of substance mole. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities in our SI system. And I told you together with this we have 2 complementary quantities. Those are angle and solid angle. This will come only in higher levels. Okay. So angle, what is the unit for angle? Angle is measured in radians. Okay. So RD is its unit. Solid angle means it is the angle formed inside a sphere and it is measured in steradian. So SI unit for angle is radian and SI unit for solid angle is steradian. Its symbol is STRD. Okay. So please be thorough with this, and for our board exam we need all the answers, final answers in SI system, unless they ask for some other unit. So we should be thorough with the SI units. Okay. So is it clear? 7 fundamental quantities and their units plus 2 complementary quantities and their units. So once you are thorough with this, then only we can move to the next session. Okay. So please by heart this. Okay. Then in your textbook, in page number 3, they have given use of prefix with a unit. That is, we are having number of units. Even though this is our SI unit, we are having multiple units as well as subunits. For meter, we are having kilometer, centimeter, decameter, decimeter, etc. Isn't it? So by adding prefix, we will be getting different types of units. So no need to give importance to all the units. I'll tell you which all units you have to study. So what you have to keep in mind is, by giving a prefix, we can make smaller or bigger units, and that is given in page number 3. Page number 3, use of prefix with a unit. So you can see 2 boxes there. No need to give importance to this. Okay, I'll tell you which all units you have to study. Okay. Then from this topic, I'll tell you the exercise questions. Which all questions you have to write. You can take page number 9, exercise 1A. I'm using the old textbook, so I'm not sure whether the page numbers are same. I hope it's same. So exercise 1A, question number 1 to 8. Okay, question number 1 to 8. So I told you, it's not compulsory to copy the question, but I need the answers. No need of lecture notes. So complete this. Listen to the video, write the notes and study the question answers. I'll be asking it during the Google Meet. Okay. So thank you, children.